All right, I'm Chris Avina with the American Outdoor News Podcast. I'm here with Shaun Beiswanger from ACME Rifles. Shaun, thanks for coming on.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Chris.
Now, we've known each other for a little bit. I haven't seen you in a little bit, but always impressed with your products. I mean, ACME Rifle has the reputation of producing precision firearms designed for, the active person involved in shooting sports. Um, Question: what is the difference uh, between uh, a rifle that is custom made for with all the bells and whistles, and one that's just designed for accuracy?
Well, we can't give away the secret sauce for everything, but definitely there's what we would say is you have production guns and then you have competition match grade guns, right? And it comes down to tolerances. A lot of people have AR-15s and they're made from different job shops, and you start putting them together, they have tolerances built into them so that they work. The problem with that is when you start stacking tolerances, you can get tolerances that are on the outside of it that make your connections a little loose, which is not what you want for when you're trying to maintain accuracy and precision. So one thing that we do with our AR tactical line is we still consider these production guns, right? These are guns that we take off the wall, but we're able to control our tolerances because we make the upper receivers, the lower receivers, the handguards, and we assemble them all in the house. So the biggest difference is a match grade barrel, which you're talking the difference between a $100 or $200 barrel versus a $600 barrel, which is a huge difference as far as accuracy and capability. So then it comes down to your triggers, different coatings on the bolts, all the other secret sauces that when you're trying to shoot half-minute groups, which we do with our shooters on our it's all those things come together and they matter.
Yeah, so the engineering involved and whatnot. There's a big difference between wanting an exceptional rifle that looks good or one that's just accurate.
Yeah, and if you just want it to run, and at different purposes, right? If you want a gun that you want to go hunting with, or you just want a defensive gun or one for fun, we have those too. That's their everyday run of the mill that you're going to pick it up at your local gun shop. Our precision rifles, more for duty work or for competition, completely different tier of rifle, and that's our upper tier.
Well, how much of it is engineering, and how much of it is just understanding the shooter behind the rifle?
Both, and that's what's so unique about us is we have the access to the best shooters in the world. It's one thing to say that you have the most accurate ARs on the market, but it's another thing to have the people that are capable of outshooting the ability of the firearm, right? So if you're not using ammunition or your ability, you're not training to shoot better than sub-minute of angle, then there's no reason to buy the half-minute of angle gun. But when we have access to national champions, we can demonstrate that with match grade ammo, with the skill set and the training and the ability, you can push these firearms a lot farther than what people are used to.
Well, I mean, technology today, it's influenced everything from optics to ballistics. Um, what's the biggest mistake a shooter makes um, when they rely too much on technology and not enough on marksmanship?
Oh, that's a great question. So everybody is getting familiar with ballistic calculators, bullet drop compensated scopes, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you're not out there understanding that these different density altitudes and what it means for different barometric pressures, grain weights, wind, all those things that you learn on the range take over decades of time. There's tools that can help you record that, but if you're not putting in real time and data to prove that, you're really setting yourself up for failure. That's the guy that was going elk hunting, right? And he zeroes his gun at his home range that's at 800 elevation. He's going up to, 10,000, 15,000 elevation, and it's cold. Well, he wonders why he spent all this time and money on his elk hunt, and he shoots the round, 2 feet over the elk. Well, that's why.
Yeah. I kind of equate that to somebody who goes out into the brush that rely on their electronic GPS, but then when they don't have any signal, they don't know how to work a regular compass.
Yeah, and we're really big on that in the sniper community. You know, I have a long history in that, but still training and trying to teach that next generation to still know how to do the analog, because we do know our generation that that technology was just coming out. It was great. It was a great tool to help you, but it failed all the time when you needed it. So it was never there. You can never rely on it. So you still had to learn both. Now this next generation, it seems like they don't know the analog or they're just skipping past it because it's a waste of time.
Yeah, I got a few years on you, so I didn't have any of that when I was growing
Right.
up.
Right. Exactly. So, and you'll still see it up at Camp Perry. We still keep the analog data books, right? The handwritten data books that write your windage and the sun and wind flags and being on call on what you think the bullet was going to do. The big game changer there is electronic targets, Chris, for us. You got to see them at Camp Perry last year.
Oh
That's the
yeah.
biggest thing for us is how quickly we can spin somebody up like Sydney, that she's getting real-time feedback, right? She's not having to look on a spotting scope or go down range to see where her shots are. She knows and she's on call if she's making good shots or bad shots instantly.
Well, I know aside from building amazing rifles, you're really involved with youth shooting. And Sydney's a perfect example. She really took me to school at Camp Perry and really picked apart what I was doing wrong as a shooter. You know, guys, we've been doing it our whole life, and I got it. Don't worry. No, she picked apart my stance, the way I held the rifle. I mean, things I would have never thought about or forgot. She was there, and she wasn't afraid to correct.
Well, and that's something that's a role that she's taken with honor. Obviously, she's my daughter. I'm very proud of her, but she knows her role in this and what she does for other kids. Obviously, her daddy owns a gun company, so she has access to the best rifles in the world. But she also has access to the best coaches, including Julia Watson Carlson, Dwayne Lewis, Brandon Green, Dan Dutzman, some of the people that are still winning and setting records. What that means is for her to go out there, but you know, you're exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. We've been doing this for 30, 40 years. We know what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. It's really hard for you to break that and to listen
Yep.
anymore. You've been doing it a long time. You throw a girl up there like Sydney's 13, 14 years old, nice little smile, and she outshoots the pants off you. You pucker up a little bit, like, okay, maybe I should listen to this young lady a little bit, right? Because you
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened.
yeah, you
Yeah,
don't know what you don't know. And our job, we have to show you. We understand that it's a lot of it's snake oil. It's not relevant. We have to demonstrate it, and the only way we can do that is on the firing line, and that's why it's important. Rebuilding the youth unit programs after COVID and the separations of air rifle and small bore going to high power, it took a hit. So we start with JROTC, helping develop those kids that we know that have a pretty good path of going to the military or law enforcement anyways. So why not teach those kids some firearm skills, safety, marksmanship, and they're usually doing air rifle and small bore anyways. So that's usually the transition that you would go to high power shooting. And
so so the firearm safety and marksmanship, that's like a beginner program for you.
correct. Yeah, yeah, that's we use the AR tactical, which when you go on and you start looking up ACME Rifles AR tactical, it's a discipline that Sydney started at about 12. We took her to Small Arms Firing School. Small Arms Firing School is traditionally held by the U.S. Army up at Camp Perry every summer, and it's a
Uh-huh.
weekend. You go up there and you learn the basics, you know, fundamentals, how to hold the shooting position, standing, kneeling, and a course of fire on high power shooting and the history and legacy, which I'm big on. Um, but she struggled a little bit because she didn't have a shooting jacket. You know, the sling kept falling off her arm. It's iron sights. She really was not enjoying that weekend. Fortunate for us, the week after, we were scheduled to shoot mid range, which is a 600-yard discipline, as you saw out at Camp Perry. So when she got to lay on her belly with a rear bag and a bipod, she placed second overall on one of the strings, just behind Julia, and beat out some of the other coaches. She's like, Dad, I could get behind this. And it's like, you see a spark go off. It's like, okay, well, let's start
Sure.
here, right? The kids that can do the air rifle and the small bore, they're shooting indoors. It's 10, 15 feet, right? This is 600 yards, right? Like, let's get them on their belly first. Let's have them making good shots. Once we can keep them in the 10 ring consistently, then it's time for them to sling up and transition to high power.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Camp Perry, and being in New York, we don't have too many opportunities to shoot long range. Uh, Even when we're hunting, 100-yard shots a long shot for us. Um, but they're so well equipped, and uh, it was just such a great experience to be able to apply what you've learned and what you're taught there, and to shoot long range. I was happy to hit the target.
Yeah. And what it means to me as an industry person that I went up there 25 years ago when I was starting into this, and you go up to Commercial Row and there's names like Springfield, Armalite, Geisley. Geisley started there, right? Like it's kind of like, hey, who are these guys? And they're selling triggers, right? Now
Yep.
everybody knows 20 years later who they are, but the legacy of what that means to our freedoms about the training marksmanship to civilians to keep readily armed skill set that needs to be regular. This is a depreciated skill. If you're not learning it and teaching it, we're not
Yeah.
going to, next generation. You can't have a 10-year gap like we've had and expected it to be carried on. All it's going to take is COVID per se, and you can look up there in the the participation numbers and how many people are making the travel right to go up there is down, way down. It's coming back, but um,
Yeah.
it's a national treasure. Like I said, you've been up there. It's a what it means for the relationships and the different kind of juniors that these are making young adults, what it means that you got the Army marksmanship unit up there, the Marine Corps shooting team used to be up there, all the National Guard, all guard, and what those mean for those kids that start as juniors up there and the relationships they build, and then you get a little spark. Like for me, it was industry. I was like, oh man, they got all the pieces in here. You're talking to the old gunnies from Vietnam that know all the ins and outs of the platforms. That knowledge, yes, it's on Wikipedia now. You can Google it, but there's some things in there you need. Even so, like this year, for example, I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana. So we had Sinclair here in New Haven, 10 minutes from us. So we used to be able to go in there on Friday, spend your paycheck getting powder and learning from the best bench rest shooters, in the U.S. We don't have that anymore. So like, there's a big gap with reloading. Like it's not reloading, and precision reloading isn't something you really want to watch a YouTube video on, right? You kind of need your handheld a little bit. So that's something we're adding to our junior program up there at Camp Perry. Is for the coaches, we're going to add a reloading element, and we got Capstone, RCBS, Hodgdon, Sierra Bullets, Starline Brass, all coming on board to help support these junior programs to teach the new coaches, the guys coming back, hey, this is how you reload. These are some contacts you're going to need. Here's a program to get components, because that's got another big issue, a big gap that needs filled as far as how you can feed these junior programs, because it's expensive.
It is, but how? I don't think a lot of people are aware of these junior programs. How does somebody get involved?
Yeah, if you can start on our website, acmerifles.com. Obviously, we post all the links and publications, but the civilian marksmanship program is where you're going to want to start. And we have one pagers that we give out because every state has an associated rifle and pistol program, right? Some of them
Yeah.
aren't being used. There's not an active board member. Their participation numbers are really low. But then there's companies like the Friends of NRA, or organizations, let's say charity organizations, uh, Midway USA Foundation, Rocky Mountain Elk, all those other that offer grants and with an emphasis for youth shooting. So those clubs that are like, hey, this sounds interesting, but we can't afford it. Well, that's what these programs are developed for. But you need to have the kids, and you need to have somebody that's going to, champion that and say, just no different than the local t-ball coach. Which parent's going to volunteer to coach the team?
Yeah.
It's a lot of work for you to take off your weekends and your holidays to volunteer to coach other people's kids. And
Yeah. It's
and
a full-time job.
yeah, and it is. And so it's going to take some dedicated people. It takes a team, it takes a village, right? But the resources are there, kind of getting people to go back to like, hey, what is the junior support program for CMP? A lot of people don't realize that these kids are fully supported, right? For 2 years. So like, these are kids that have never been to Camp Perry. All they have to do is come sign up for the clinic, do the rifle clinic, participate in the President's 100, NTI, and the junior team match. Those match fees are covered by the CMP, all through a grant.
So, what do you hope to have these kids take away from a day at the range?
Well, we have, yeah, so about one of our regular clinics is about 20 to 30 junior kids. A lot of them are first timers, right? What you take away from that is kids that are doing something that aren't, we're kind of animosity about like, oh, what is this? Kind of nervous. But to see them coming off the line, Chris, you saw it with some of your Poma guys, right? Like, holy crap, I've never shot 600 yards before. I didn't think I could do that. Oh, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
You might not do it well, but you're going to do it, and you're going to be on target, and you're going to do something that, if you wanted to learn how to do more, here's the resources how to. And I just love seeing the kids motivated to be interested in trying something that's out of the norm, setting the iPad down. These kids these years, this generation gets a bad rap for having their nose in the iPads and the phones. Chris, yeah, you might be a decade older than me, but my generation was the same scrutiny. But we grew up with the 8-track tapes and the cassette tapes and the CD, so we had enough time in the analog days. Where these kids now, though, they can learn a lot quicker than what we ever could. So offering them something that they're not used to, let them try something, uh, you'd be surprised about the success rate. Like, Dad, I'd really like to do this. It takes parents too, moms or dads. It takes committed moms and dads to get this done.
It's a commitment for the whole family, not just the kid that wants to get involved. The parents have to commit too, because there's cost involved, there's traveling involved, there's a lot more to it than just saying go ahead, go.
Yep. And then who's going to run them to practice? Like me yesterday, I had a couple calls like, well, I'm going to run Sydney to practice. Most parents are doing soccer practice, right? Or hockey practice. Like, well, we go to rifle practice.
Yeah. So, as far as the future of the sport, where do you see it 10 years from now?
I struggle with that, and I have no problem raising issues on things and where things fell short and why. And the last 3 years, I've done a very good job of demonstrating dollars to kids. If the focus is kids, this is what it
Yeah.
costs per kid. And I am a business owner, small business owner. I can demonstrate that to the decision makers. Like, listen, it's cost this many rounds to get a kid to Camp Perry. It's going to be this much monthly upkeep per kid. How many kids can you support? If we don't do something now, though, Chris, 5, 10 years from now, these programs won't exist, and the people that are volunteering their time now won't be here. And I speak 100%, not candidly or anything. The ones that taught me are no longer here. So it's the ones that teach the disciplines that I can't teach because I've never been that good. 10 years from now, they can't do it. So
Yeah.
there will not be anybody 5, 10 years from now that could pass the torch. And I think that this sport will be dead. It's the longest sport that we have in the United States is shooting sports. Um, but they got a bad recruiting class with the politics and the school stuff. That's relatively recent. That's within the last 10 years since Sandy Hook, really.
Yeah.
Our local JROTC kids, they still shoot air rifle and small bore in their school. It's amazing. I wish we could get back to that.
Yeah.
We have a saying that some of these quiet kids, the introverts per se, they find a voice on their range, right? Shooting sports is available to any demographic, any athletic ability, right? You can't dribble a ball, you can't run, you're not fast, you're not tall. That doesn't matter in shooting, right? It's a level playing field. You can compete just as much as anybody else. But getting the parents to set aside political beliefs or is this right or wrong because they're kids, it's important. So
It's funny you say that. If you could change one misconception about firearms and shooting sports, what would it be?
it's the kids and guns element of it. Sydney goes to a nice school. It's kind of hush hush and quiet. She doesn't speak up. The principals and the teachers all know. They encourage her to do it, but she doesn't like that stereotypical shooting and school connotation like in the same sentence because
Yeah.
those make national news. It's not what we do here. It's not even relevant. But us as the conservatives, the ones that are supporting programs, we don't do enough to stand up and say, no, stop it. That is not what this is. We need to talk more on it positively instead of just avoiding that conversation, which we've done historically.
Well, not just shooting sports, just our lifestyle, hunting, shooting,
Confirmation, all of
archery.
it. Yep.
Why don't we have a unified message?
I don't know. I don't know if it's trying to pick our battles, which I can relate as a parent of 3 girls, right? But I can tell you the other side is fighting. and they're winning. It's in everybody's phones, it's in everybody's messages on their TV channels, and their message is winning, and our voice is drowned out. And we saw what happened the last few years when we do speak up, when we gain some support. But I think this is we're living in the cause and effect of what happens when we sit on idle hands and we don't speak out more.
Well, they have their narrative. They're all unified on it. They all sing the same song, and we're at each other's throats. We're our own worst enemy.
100%.
So if we don't get together and start defending our rights, we're not going to have the rights.
I am a big component. I'm very interested in support the Friends of NRA, and I've met a lot of the board of directors in the NRA. They do a lot of the civil rights and the legal stuff on the back end, and the changing of the guard of what's going on with the NRA. I am very excited about that and what's going on with that. It's hard to get other people to spend light and to support that. So maybe that's something we can look into, is like if we could look to them to unifying the message, but not making it so political, but civil rights.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think Wayne left a very bad taste in a lot of people's mouth for a very long time. Oddly, Letitia James did us all a favor by getting them out of the NRA, and now they're changing the board, bringing in new people, fresh ideas, and changing the complexion of the organization. But fact remains, we need the NRA because there's a lot of great organizations out there, but none that have the political clout and abilities that the NRA has.
Yeah, and what they got done with the American Suppressor, Knox, and them getting silencers off the zero tax stamp, what that's done for industry and consumers, and we've been trying to do that for 20 plus years, right?
Yep.
To finally get that done. The message this year, NRA annual meeting, I'm sitting there in the booth next to Henry and hearing over the intercom about their focus and emphasis on getting back to youth and juniors, and they need that as memberships as well. So, we're down at Oklahoma doing the NRA mid-range, and we set some national records for AR Tactical, which is great. And the Stats House reminded us that the juniors have to be NRA members if they want to set the national records. Like, oh, okay. So there's one way of getting kids, more NRA members, because I'm a life member. Chris, you're probably a life member. I don't know how much you're contributing back to the NRA because dollar for dollar, I'm spending my dollars elsewhere. But I'm already an NRA life member. Most people in our demographic already are. So what are they going to be doing to funnel that the next 5-10 years? And I think it's going to revolve back to youth and back to juniors and the 20 to 30 year demographic age gap.
Well, it's important that we carry on the message to the next generation, not just in shooting sports, but our outdoor lifestyle. We got to get kids off the computer, away from their phones, and out into the field, just doing what we enjoy so they could pass it on to their kids.
Yeah, and it's something we bring up in our clinics and whatnot too when you're trying to give them the pitch to get parents to sign their kids up. And like I said, these kids get a negative annotation, but you call the parents out and say, well, what else are you offering? Right? What else are you offering to kids? What other programs are they in? Are they not in any programs? Right. So you're okay with them sitting there and watching YouTube videos all day. Okay, well
that's laziness on the parents' part.
Correct. And that's 100% on the parents, and just know that 10 years from now, what that child is not going to experience or have an opportunity to do it. And I'm big on opportunities. I love the word. I love what it means. Opening doors. We'll put you on a spot that you can try this, and if it works, takes off, you're going to make relationships, friends. And Chris, this industry is very small. The shooting sports is very, very small, especially high power. But you have lifelong relationships that you can call and lean on people. And then these kids go in the military and what that means, or law enforcement, nursing, all the things that it opens up,
100%.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to speak to us today. Where can we find out more about your youth programs and ACME Rifles?
ACMERifles.com. Obviously, we're on Facebook as well. ACME Rifles, Instagram, whatever socials you guys like to use. But the civilian marksmanship program is where you're going to look for some junior programs. But we have information on ACME Rifles on our website, our blog posts, specifically the junior programs, and the rifles and whatnot that you need if you're looking to to buy. Our custom rifles are pretty awesome. I think you saw a couple of our custom one-of-a-kind guns. We have fun with those. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
All right. Thanks again. And we will speak to you very soon.
Thanks, Chris.
We love our children. We protect them. We guide them. We prepare them for life in the world. With all that we do, from deep in our hearts, we cannot control all things. Life-threatening illnesses and disabilities affect far too many of our children each year. While we cannot change the circumstance, we can make dreams come true. Dreams to provide hope, to provide spiritual healing and strength, to provide moments of happiness and relief in the hardest of times. We can give a glimmer of light and hope in a time of darkness and despair. Join huntofalifetime.org to help make dreams come true, to provide hope for children with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. Hunt of a Lifetime is a non-profit organization fulfilling dreams for hunting and fishing trips to youth 21 and under with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. Visit huntofalifetime.org to learn how you can make a difference.